let's turn to Mike Bako. He's a sports editor at daily and national.com. So Mike, this clearly will be a very, very unique opening ceremony on the iconic Seine River. We keep hearing, we heard Tony say it, this will be a opening ceremony like no other. But don't we say that about every single opening ceremony?
We certainly say that. Certainly when you think back to Beijing, we had never seen anything like it. I mean, I think what people are really hoping is to get back to that Olympic spirit. Certainly with Tokyo being pushed back because of COVID, and then a very understated and underwhelming games a year later. I think what people are looking for is to bring back that pageantry of the Olympic spirit, to have a really unique environment and atmosphere with all of these athletes on water and then coming through past Notre Dame, settling near the Eiffel Tower, being in Paris, this international city. And what they're really trying to do, not only with the opening ceremonies, but with these entire Olympic Games, is really to play into the Paris mystique, the majesty of it, the history of it, so many of the events and venues inside of what people think of that wonderful, proper Paris environment. So that's what they're trying to do with the Olympic opening ceremonies, as well as a lot of the events and the games throughout.
So one of the most spectacular events, which I found absolutely remarkable, just the scenery, would be beach volleyball taking place at the foot of the Eiffel Tower. Boy, I would love to see that.
It's a wonderful environment. When you're watching on TV or even when you're there, you have to take a moment. I'm sure they'll do plenty of aerial shots, drone shots. You kind of just look around and you realize, wow, this is an amazing environment. And one of the things, as someone who covers sports business and covers the Olympic movement, is a lot of these venues that they are building, that they are putting into the Paris city environment, will be temporary structures. So you're not building these big, huge stadiums that many years later, you look at what happens, 2004 in Athens, just these buildings that are in ruins and hundreds of millions of dollars and billions of dollars of infrastructure that goes into these stadiums that are only used for 1, 2 weeks, possibly 3 at a time, and then go dormant, and now they have weeds growing out of it. So Paris really went to great lengths, as well as Los Angeles will in 2028 when they host the games, to make sure that a lot of these venues are memorable, but that they're also not sort of 1 or 2 time usage over a 2-week period of time, and then they go into ruin.
Well, let's talk about some of the sports or events that we'll be watching. For the first time, hip-hop will be front and center. Breaking or breakdancing will be featured. I believe this is the first time we're going to see this, right?
It's certainly the first time that we're going to see it. There's, when you think back to what the original Olympic ideal was, that's long gone. Obviously now there is a sort of spectacle element of it. You look at the Winter Olympic Games and some of those snowboarding games that many people here in the States think of as the X Games. Those are now becoming some of the most popular Olympic events. I don't think hip hop breakdancing is going to rise to the level of beating out track and field and gymnastics and swimming and basketball and things like that. But they are trying to appeal to a different demographic. Certainly now the Olympics, every 4 years, people pay attention to it in this moment and in this time. So they're trying to bring a little bit more of a contemporary feel to it and bring a little bit more attention and media notoriety. But event in and event out, the traditional events, the gymnastics, the swimmings, even the beach volleyballs, the basketball, events like that are going to be front and center for so many millions of viewers.
Mike, we're running out of time, but very quickly, are there names or less familiar faces that we should, these lesser known athletes, if you will, that we should be on the lookout for? Rising stars, not as famous as perhaps, Simone Biles and the rest of them, but
sure,
but well known in their own right.
Yeah, well, this is what's great about the Olympics, is the rise and fall of these athletes. People, you mentioned Simone Biles, you mentioned Coco Gauff, LeBron James. These are names that everyone knows, but it's really the stars that are built because of their performances, because of the upsets. And unfortunately, we learn a lot of these names because of the upsets that happen where they don't rise to the occasion. So that's what I'm going to be looking for. Can't identify them right now, but those are going to be the stories that come out in these qualifying events, and certainly who medals and who doesn't, and who comes to the surface to be that next U.S. star.
Mike Bako, thank you. We'll be talking a lot over the next few days. Thank you very much.
Thank you.